Savage City in the Savage Seas was going to star a rabbit spy called Jack Savage, investigating a crime in a wholly inhabited animal city. That is the original Zootopia. However, the idea was not well liked, other than the fact of the animal city. They liked that idea, but the Savage City and Jack Savage was kind of beat. So they decided to go to the drawing board, or Animal Kingdom. They basically told the animators, hey, go study animals at our Disney parks, right now! But yeah, this trip ended up being beneficial. Well, they also went to Kenya Zoo. If you don't know anything about zoos, there's one in Kenya that is very ginormous. But since they have one on their studio lot, well, not studio lot, Animal Kingdom, but you know, they're like, hey, let's go here. And they discovered one thing. Predators, despite being top of the food chain, were outnumbered by prey by a lot. And that concept alone made the animators actually have a brilliant idea. Well, we did social commentary, both animals. And that is how the Zootopia film was finally conceived. And the film ended up doing incredibly well, becoming the 4th animated film to reach $1 billion. Not the last one, mind you, because they make a lot of money nowadays. And it also started a whole subset on the internet of people discovering what a furry is. And they found a lot of rabbit holes that need to be filled. With money. Disney must have really known their market because their two main characters have so many simps online, it's insane. If your kid's a fan of this movie, do not let them search Judy Hopps or Nick Wilde with a safe search off, because they will find a ton, and I mean a ton of images. This film we got images before the film was even fully released. But enough about porn. Let's talk about racism. Oh, this film covers some pretty heavy topics for a kid's film. If you want to ruin any artist's fun of this film, just remind them there's actually a scene where they go to a nudist colony and none of the characters have any genitalia, ruining their fantasies, their deep, depraved fantasies. Also, there's a scene in a kid's movie where there's characters who are in the nude, literally showcasing all their stuff to the audience. I'm not making this up. Also, the main character of this Disney animated kids film racially profiles one of the co-stars. And all of this is to say that Zootopia is a really great film because it has the balls to do this shit in a very entertaining way. As a matter of fact, this film would have been nearly a 10 if there wasn't for a couple minor problems. The villain in concept isn't bad, but in execution she kind of sucks, mostly because she's not a great presence near the end. The idea of a prey animal using racial conflict to keep herself in power is kind of interesting, but it's very underdeveloped, though I do think its concept's way better than the other twist villains, even though, yeah, she's not that great. Also, there's a terrible Shakira song that they play over and over and over again, and the characters in the movie like it, even though I don't know that many people like it in real life. In fact, a lot of people, even people who like this film, say this is the worst aspect of the film. But I'll talk more about that during my song ranking section, which will only have one song, but it's going to be at the very bottom of the list. It's not good. But what is good is the animation. They had to design a unique city where a bunch of different types of animals can live, with different sections representing each animal's different climates, and it is gorgeous to look at. One of the things I liked in the Big Hero 6 was their city design, and the fact this movie has more of that, with even more unique city locations, makes me like it even more. CGI is really good at creating unique worlds. Cool, sewer painted backgrounds are always nice to look at, but you can really explore a world in CGI. It's one of the aspects that it does better than 2D. This film is just tons of fun with what it does with its characters and animation, and it's, like I said, world building, which is mostly good, not that bad. So one of the biggest things is that this film is about racism, which I mentioned multiple times, though through an animal perspective, where there's the prey and there's the predators. I won't even go into what they represent because it's kind of obvious, but if you don't know, well, you gotta figure it out, because it's not that hard. Even a little kid can probably figure this shit out. And some people say, oh, this might be too on the nose, but if you're one of those people, well, I don't know what to say. This is something that needs to be said even nowadays, because apparently people don't fucking learn, and it's terrible. Though while the film does say the stereotypes are wrong for the most part, there is stereotypes of animals that still exist in this world that are obviously true, so that's kind of negates the point of having the animals being sort of a thing. But it doesn't matter for the most part. Like, yeah, the sloths are slow and stuff like that, and that could be a bad allegory, but at the same time, it's fun, so I don't know. It's kind of eh. You're either going to like it or you're not going to get into it as much. I got into it personally, since I think this is an issue that we still suffer on a daily basis because of how terrible society actually is. In fact, we don't seem to ever fucking learn. And for the most part, it is executed pretty well. And even though it's pretty obvious to adults, I'm not sure a little kid might pick up on it. I know I said that earlier, like, oh, it's kind of obvious, but at the same time, maybe it's not so obvious. I don't really know. I didn't see this when I was a kid. It came out when I was 16, so of course, I don't have that thing to go on by. Also, there's DVDs of films that didn't even come out yet. Like, where's Gigantic gonna come out, Disney? When's that coming out? Never. That's the question. But I don't really have a whole lot to say about Zootopia, really. It's kind of a film that speaks for itself. There's a Godfather little shrew there. That's kind of funny. And yeah, Zootopia is a good movie. I might as well go on to the other parts of my reviews I usually do. Zootopia is getting a theatrical sequel in the next year. Hopefully it will be good. Something about reptiles, I guess. It could be interesting if they do something that I think they might do, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it's definitely a film that I feel like definitely can have a sequel, and I look forward to see what they do. Hopefully it won't be bad. Like a bunch of other things that Disney does, they have these like short things they've been doing on Disney Plus, and Zootopia was one of them. Zootopia Plus just showed little clips of other characters doing other things, I guess, and yeah, that's about it. Nothing to say much more with that. Kyle the Future here. I just saw one of the episodes of Zootopia Plus because it's a parody of The Real Housewives. I cannot believe they did it, and it is hilarious. So this show is actually better than I thought. It's only 6 episodes, but yeah, you gotta watch Zootopia Plus. We're out of the era of tie-in games, but there is going to be app-based games because apps are more popular and easier to make. So there is one called Zootopia Crime Files, which doesn't look very good because why the hell would you want to play an app game? Apps are terrible. I mean, some of them are okay, but most of them are just shitty, and they ask you for way too many money, and you have to wait for bullshit. I hate it. If you're a fan of Zootopia, then you'll want to go to Shanghai, because they have a whole mini section of the park dedicated to Zootopia. It's very well themed, and I forgot to mention something about the movie that I might as well mention now since we're in China. For some reason, internationally, during one little news scene, the one news reporter changes animals based off the country you're in. Like in Canada, it's a moose, in Japan, it's a tanuki raccoon, in Japan, it's a panda. This character doesn't do anything, it just sits there, really. I think it says one line. I do not know why they thought, like, yeah, let's appeal to this country by having one very minor character change animal species, but hey, apparently they thought it was necessary. I personally don't get it. Of course, in this area, there's a Zootopia ride called Zootopia Hot Pursuit, which is kind of this new trackless dark ride with a lot of screens, but also animatronics. A little too much screens for my liking, but if you're a Zootopia fan, you might like it. Unfortunately, the ride's only in Chinese, so you have to read subtitles if you want to understand it. Can't find footage of this, but there's a restaurant based off the elephant's place called Jumbex, I believe is how you pronounce it, cafe, where you can apparently get a donut as well as the popsicle? Is it a popsicle? Popsicle? I don't know how to say that right, but you know, whatever. The last thing is a ride that hasn't even opened up yet, but it's Zootopia Better Together, which will replace It's Tough to Be a Bug at Animal Kingdom, and will come out around the time Zootopia 2 comes out. I would be sad, but It's Tough to Be a Bug is not one of my favorite rides. It hurt my back one time, so I guess it's not sad. Bug's Life's kind of a weird ride to have anyway, since who really cares about Bug's Life, but hey, we'll see if it's good or not. I see the stupid gazelle character, and that's not good, but we'll see. It should be good, hopefully. Maybe. For the ranking part, there's only 3 things to rank, so it should be going pretty quickly. But Zootopia in the A tier, I know I didn't talk about too much, I didn't even really go into a lot of themes, but those films I think you should watch for yourself since there's not a whole lot for me to say. But yeah, it definitely is pretty good. Definitely recommend watching it if you haven't watched it already. But hey, whatever. For the villain ranking, I definitely put the mayor belt assistant, wherever it is, Bellwether, into the E tier. A very mid-villain if you had better development and probably a different actor choice that could pull off being a villain, then possibly higher. The theme, I like the theme. It just, like I said, twist villains that are revealed near the very end can't do a whole lot, and so yeah, that's about it for her. Twist villains just don't really work, personally for me, because like I said, they are like a wow, we forgot to even give this character development. They're just randomly a villain. And yeah, I can see the character being a villain. It's just the fact that this character didn't have a lot of screen time beforehand, and not enough villainy near the end to really make the character work that well. I know it's more about society more than just a random villain, but you know what I mean. Try Everything from Zootopia is fucking awful. Why the hell is it in the movie so much? Why they promote it is the main aspect of the film that people like. People don't care about the fucking song. Ask Zootopia fans, they don't give a shit about that. They like the 2 main characters. They like the aspect they have, which they're not even a couple, by the way, which is kind of shocking. And the themes of the film, the world of the film. The thing they care about least is fucking the Shakira Gazelle character, which the film like yeah, this is gonna be a big thing. No, it's not. We don't like that character. It's a dumb design. Shakira can't act. She can't fucking make a song. I don't even really hate her as a person, really, or even her music that much, but this song is awful. Terrible lyric, just making the same mistakes over and over again. Like, what the fuck? That's a terrible message for kids. I get all you make mistakes to learn, but in this movie, it's terrible. Terrible. So it was fine for her to mistakenly racially profile him? Like, get the fuck out of here. It's so dumb. You're supposed to learn from mistakes, not make the same mistakes over and over again. It doesn't make any sense. Fuck Shakira, and fuck this terrible song for taking away from a really great movie. And that's all I gotta say about this film. It's good, other than that terrible song. Next time we'll be heading towards the sea as we cover Moana. So, yeah, I'll see you then. Until next time, bye-bye.